Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to discuss a particular topic that we are both very, very interested in. It is with my great honor to introduce myself. My name is Michael O'Hanlon, and I am a sophomore here at Iona University. And alongside with me here is my great friend and roommate, Luca Adala. He is currently a sophomore here.
Hello, everybody.
And we are here today to discuss two NFL legends and two great quarterbacks that I grew up watching and that I grew up watching them, the two of them play against each other, and it was an absolute honor. The two quarterbacks we will be discussing is Indianapolis Colts and Denver Broncos legend Peyton Manning and New England Patriots and Tampa Bay Buccaneers legend Tom Brady. Now, where do I begin with these two legends, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady? The first word that comes to my mind when I think of Peyton Manning is incredible. To be honest, the first word that comes to my mind when I think of Tom Brady as a football player is clutch. Out of all the years I've watched professional football, and out of all the years I've watched a big game, I've never witnessed a quarterback more than Tom Brady that has absolutely excelled and has brought his team down the field to win in a big game than him. When I think of a big game and when I think of a clutch situation, and when I think of a quarterback and a player that has always been there for his team in a big game, I think of Tom Brady. And when I think of a quarterback who plays with the most heart and the most passion out of any player I've ever seen on the field, it's Peyton Manning. Now, the numbers for Super Bowls, Tom Brady does outnumber the Super Bowl wins and the Super Bowl appearances than Peyton Manning, but there is a reason for that. Tom Brady in his entire career has played in 14 conference championship games. And he has won 10 of 14 conference championship games. In his career with the New England Patriots, he won 6 Super Bowls, and he played in 9 Super Bowls. He played with the Patriots. Peyton Manning in his career has played in 4 Super Bowls. 3 out of the 4 times he went to the Super Bowl, he played against Tom Brady and beat him 3 out of the 4 times. When Peyton Manning and Tom Brady were in the league, once I looked up the schedule to see who the Broncos are playing and who the Patriots are playing. The first game I always looked at, it wasn't the Jets or the Giants who they're playing. It was when Tom Brady and Peyton Manning were playing against each other, because I knew it was going to be an event, and I knew this was going to be something special. Every year it was an event. Every year to be honest, it was never a massacre. It was either a neck and neck game, and it was the toughest team that came out on top. But there was so much heart and there was so much hype that went into the game. And to be honest, when Peyton Manning retired, when Tom Brady and Peyton Manning went up against each other, when that era was done, it was the end of an era. It was an incredible era. And when people think of sports players going up against each other and two teams going up against each other, this will definitely go down as one of the best rivals in NFL history between two legends. Peyton Manning in his career has played in 5 conference championships. The first time Tom Brady and Peyton Manning has ever gone up against each other in a conference championship game was in 2003. The New England Patriots were going up against Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts. In that game, New England came out on top. Tom Brady came out on top and beat him 24-14. Now, this was before I was born, but that was the start of an era. Luca, I have a question for you. Do you remember when Peyton Manning and Tom Brady went up against each other? And what does this legacy mean to you?
No, it's definitely a meaningful legacy for sure. Obviously both quarterbacks are legends of the game and will like forever be legends. So there's no one can really deny that.
You are 100% right. And I believe there were so many incredible and memorable games between the two of them that it's almost hard to count. 2003 was the first time they went up against each other in the playoffs. Now, the one that I think might be the most memorable out of all of them was the 2006 AFC Championship game between the Indianapolis Colts and the New England Patriots. The game was played at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, and Peyton Manning was on the Colts and Tom Brady was on the Patriots. And at the beginning of the game, New England and Tom Brady were up 21-3. At the beginning of the game, all Colts fans lost hope. People were saying to themselves, "We're not going to the Super Bowl. All right, we had a good season. We might as well pack it in." And a big reason of why this rivalry was so special between Peyton Manning and Tom Brady was it's the game is never over until it's over. Even when you think, okay, I think one team has the lead, the game's over. It's not over until the end, because in the 2006 AFC Championship game, the Indianapolis Colts were trailing and they were down 21-3, and they came back and won it. And Peyton Manning hyped up his team on the sideline. He told his team, "Hey, fellas, we can play better than this. We're not in this game just because we're in this game. We're in this game for a reason. We put the work in, we put the time in, and now we got to make sure we have to make it pay off. Mistakes are going to happen in a game, but we have to respond to a game. We have to respond to the mistakes in a big game like this." And that's what the type of team we have to be. We have to be able to overcome our fears. It's not going to be easy, but we have to do it together. Peyton Manning brought his team back from down 28-3, and they tied the game. He threw a 2-point conversion to a lineman, Joe Colecco's son, and Joe Colecco, he played for the New York Jets, and his son, Dan Colecco, was on the Colts. And all of a sudden, it was 21-10. Then it was 21-17, and people are saying to themselves, "Wow, this is going to be a game." And then all of a sudden, Indianapolis took the lead to make it 38-34. Tom Brady gets the ball back with a minute to go, and they don't really get far on the drive, and he throws an interception. And Jim Nantz, the announcer, said, "Intercepted. Colts are going to the Super Bowl." And after every single game that they played against each other between Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, there was always a handshake, and the camera always went to the two of them after the game, because the two of them, they were such great quarterbacks, and all their heart and all their energy went into that game, and they always recorded it they always recorded the handshake after the game. Peyton Manning said in his retirement speech, "I'm going to miss playing in front of so many great fans, both on the road and at home. And I'll even miss the Patriots fans in Foxborough. And they sure should miss me, because they sure didn't get a lot of wins off of me. They sure didn't get a lot of wins off of them." And Peyton Manning said, "I'm going to miss that handshake with Tom Brady after the game." Now, in the regular season, to be honest, Tom Brady wins the debate over that. But there is no debate on this question. Peyton Manning is by far the best regular season quarterback to ever play the game. If you look at his numbers from the regular season, it's absolutely, his numbers are incredible. Peyton Manning played in the NFL for 18 seasons, and for the first 14 seasons of his career, he played on the Indianapolis Colts. And after he left the Colts, for the start of the 2012 season, John Elway, the general manager for the Broncos, sat Peyton down and he said, "Peyton, we're going to go on and do some phenomenal things." And Peyton in his career won 12 games in a season, 7 years in a row. He won when he was on because he played on the Broncos for 4 seasons. He won 4 straight division championships. He won he won comeback player of the year. He set single season records. He broke the touchdown passing record. He broke all the records. Now, do you think, Luke, I have a question for you. Do you think this defines how Tom Brady is, how Peyton Manning is as a quarterback, all those records? Do you think that that's how he defines him as a player?
Yes, that definitely speaks to his greatness for sure, and it definitely goes to show that he was really an amazing and very talented quarterback.
Now, when you think of rivals in the NFL and like two players going up against each other, what's the first quarterback rivalry, and what's like the two quarterbacks, or not quarterbacks, but like what's the first rival that comes to your mind?
I would say probably Tom Brady versus Eli Manning.
Well, Tom Brady against Eli Manning was absolutely incredible. And what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of Tom Brady going up against Eli Manning?
Well, definitely the two Super Bowls for sure.
Without question. And what do you think made those two Super Bowls so special?
Well, the first one being that the Giants beat the Patriots when they were undefeated, and then the second one, the Giants beat the Patriots a second time.
Without question. And the two times that Eli Manning played against Tom Brady, the New York Giants in the regular season, the first time they played them, they were 10-6 in the regular season. And a 10-6 record, it's not terrible, but it's also not fantastic. In the 2007 season, the year after Peyton Manning won his first Super Bowl, in the 2007 season, the New York Giants were 10-6 in the regular season, and the New England Patriots were 16-0 in the regular season. The New England Patriots in 2007, they were the first 16-0 team in NFL history. And the New York Giants they were absolutely on fire, and they went on a shriek on the road playing road games. They were incredible on the road. Every away game they played, they were unbelievable, and they won 11 straight on the road. In the wild card game in the 2007 playoff game, the New York Giants defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road 24-14. And also in the 2007 divisional round game, the New York Giants went to Dallas and they played against the Dallas Cowboys, and the New York Giants defeated the Dallas Cowboys 21-17. And he's still the owner to this day. But Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, before that game, he booked the plane tickets for the Dallas Cowboys to play in the NFC Championship. So he was so confident that Dallas was going to win that he already booked their plane tickets, and he already predicted that they were going to win. And New York Giants head coach Tom Coughlin, he was aware that that happened, and he didn't want to make a big deal out of it. He didn't make a big deal out of it to his players, but Tom Coughlin made sure that his players knew that, absolutely, and that was extra motivation for his team to win. And the New York Giants ended up defeating the Dallas Cowboys 21-17. And after the game, Tom Coughlin said to his players, "I don't want you guys to say anything to the press. I don't want you guys to say anything, but just say we were the team that came out on top. Just say that to yourselves." Now, Luca, what do you think of Jerry Jones sending the tickets to the NFC Championship game before the game?
I don't think that's a smart move at all because no win is guaranteed.
And to be honest, it really it reflects a lot about how Eli Manning was eluded during the playoffs, even though Jerry Jones delivered a win and guaranteed a win before the game. What do you think of that? Like, do you think that the fact that Jerry Jones delivered and guaranteed a win before the game, do you think that really reflects on how Eli Manning was such a great leader, especially in the playoffs?
Yes, it definitely does, without a doubt. Eli was awesome in the playoffs.
And every time Eli Manning got to the big game, and every time he was down with a few minutes to go in a big game, especially in the Super Bowl, no matter what type of team he was going up against, he always brought his team down the field. He always made a big play that set up a drive, and he always got the job done. You want to talk about a clutch player that always brought his team down the field and won? It was him. He was the man. And in the 2007 NFC Championship game, the New York Giants played against the Green Bay Packers at Wisconsin at Lambeau Field, and it was -1 degrees. I mean, it was absolutely freezing. And in Green Bay, that's the coldest stadium to play at, especially in the wintertime during playoffs. It was freezing. Tom Coughlin, the New York Giants head coach, he went out on the field during warmups, and he just had a jacket on, and he said to himself, I'm going to be in trouble. He had to go back inside. He put on a hat. He had to put on mittens. I mean, it was freezing. It was almost like too dangerous to play in the game. And despite the cold weather, the New York Giants started off the game in an incredible fashion. And they went up 6-0. Brett Favre and the Packers came back to make it 7-6. But to be honest, again, it was a back and forth game the whole game. So it was 20-20 with about 6 minutes to go. And Eli Manning got them in the field goal range. And again, it's absolutely freezing cold. I mean, they can't even. I was surprised that they were even able to like get in the stands. That's how cold it was. And Eli Manning brought his team down the field and got them in field goal range. And it was a 20-something yard field goal with like 6 minutes to go to try to give the Giants the lead. And Lawrence Tynes misses the field goal. So then the Green Bay gets the ball back. And I have to say, the Giants defense really carried them in the 2007 season, but they really carried them during the playoffs. Michael Strahan, Justin Tuck, Corey Webster, all those guys, Antonio Pierce, all those guys really, really came together and really came up with an excellent defensive game plan. Luke, I have a question for you. Do you think in like a big game, do you think it comes down to how good of an offense you have, or it comes down to how much of a good defense you have?
I would say both offense and defense matter equally.
I think so. And in that game, in the 2007 NFC Championship, it really came down to defense. And Brett Favre got the ball back after the Giants missed a field goal, but then the Giants defense stopped them. And then Eli Manning got the ball back and got him in the field goal range again. So this is the second time in like over the last few minutes that that Eli Manning got them into field goal range, and now it's 20-20. And again, he's not really kicking it very far. It wasn't really a super far field goal range distance. So it's 20-20. It's absolutely freezing cold. I mean, it's bitter cold. And Eli Manning's father, Archie Manning, watched the game up in the booth. And while he was sitting up in the booth, he couldn't watch the game. He had to get up and leave the booth, and he had to be by himself. That's how nervous he was for that game. And it was 20-20. Lawrence Tynes goes up and takes the field goal, and he misses it. And Tom Coughlin, the New York Giants head coach, he was in such disbelief that he missed a field goal that he went to his knees. The man went to his knees because he was so cold. Luca, do you think that's a sign when a head coach is coaching in a playoff game and he goes to his knees when he misses the field goal? Do you think that's a sign that like, oh my God, it's that cold?
Yes, without a doubt, that definitely shows the cold temperature.
Okay, so this was a very, very good conversation, but we will be back in a couple of minutes to discuss and finalize who we think a better quarterback is, Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. So far, it's a very, very good discussion.
This is WIUR Radio.
Hi, this is Anthony Carlo, TV news reporter in New York City and proud alum. If you're looking for a career in media, Iona is the place to be. From internships to real-world experience, Iona's media program is unprecedented. Take it from an industry professional who made it in the biz.
Now back to WIUR, Iona University Radio.
Welcome back to Michael and Luca's Excellent Adventure. We really love discussing who do we think was a better quarterback, Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. And we also like discussing how Eli Manning was very clutch. But to really wrap up who we thought was a better quarterback, yes, Tom Brady's Super Bowl numbers and his appearances, they do outnumber Peyton Manning's, but you can never take away Peyton Manning's heart. Peyton Manning said in his final retirement speech a month after he won his second Super Bowl in his final game in the NFL, he said, looking back on my career, I made sure each week, no matter what type of team we were playing, I made sure that I did everything I could to help my teams get a win. There were players that were more talented than me, but nobody could out-prepare me. And because of that, I have no regrets. That basically just goes to show that's a leader. That goes to show that he puts his players and his teammates in front of him. And Cooper Manning, Peyton Manning's older brother, said once in a documentary, he said Peyton was so afraid to be unprepared that he would over prepare. And another thing that Peyton Manning was when he was younger, that he hated to lose, and he did not take losing well. He hated to lose. And I think that's what drove him to be a great quarterback. And Peyton Manning said, football has not only taught me to, it not only, he said, don't be afraid by setbacks, but it has taught him to not only get through setbacks, but instead to be led by dreams. And that just goes to show me that's a player who really cares. And the most memorable game that I remember that I think was the best between Tom Brady and Peyton Manning was the 2015 AFC Championship game. It was between Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and it was Peyton Manning's final season. And again, Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, the Denver Broncos defense during that playoffs was incredible. To me, that was one of the best. That was in the top 3 best defenses I've ever seen, ever, in the playoffs. They were incredible. They really carried them throughout the playoffs. And during that game, it was played at Denver, and the Broncos went up 7-0 in the beginning, and then the New England Patriots came down. They made it 7-6, but they missed the extra point. And then the Broncos get the ball back, and they score again. Now it's 14-6. And Tom Brady threw 2 interceptions in the first half, and they were both the reason why Tom Brady threw the interception because they were both pressure on the quarterback, and that's why he threw the interceptions. And then he made it 17-9, and then it was 17-12, and then with about 2 minutes to go or less than a minute to go, it was 20-12. And again, when Peyton Manning and Tom Brady play up against each other, the main word is it's never over until it's over. And with less than a minute to go, Tom Brady throws the ball down the field to his best receiver, his best player, his tight end, Rob Gronkowski. He catches it. He throws it into the middle of the field, and 2 defenders were on him, and Gronkowski makes the catch. And I remember watching that game with my family in the den at my house, and my dad said, Tom Brady's unbelievable. And he was right. It was unreal. Now it's 20-12 with like 30 seconds to go. Tom Brady throws a touchdown. They make it 20-18. And Peyton Manning, the only thing he could do was just watch, because at that point he said to himself, my days in the NFL are numbered. I want to head out on top. And when Brady took the team down the field, he was like, it's never over. And when you say to yourself, when two players are going up against each other, it's never over. Luca, do you think that that's just a sign that it's very special?
Yes, I definitely do think it is a sign of that.
And it was 20-12, and then they made it 20-18. Gronkowski caught the pass. Now they have to go for 2, 20-18. So at this point, there's like 20-something seconds left in the game. So Tom Brady gets the snap. He rolls to the right side of the field, kind of towards the Broncos sideline. And I'll never forget Peyton Manning's reaction. it was very funny, his reaction, and it also really summed up the type of play they made. You know, Tom Brady gets a snap, he goes to the right. All the Broncos defenders are on Tom Brady, so he really has no room to throw the ball. He throws it up in the air, it gets tipped, and the Broncos defender catches it and intercepts it. And Peyton Manning was on the sidelines. He had a great reaction. When the guy intercepted it, Peyton Manning was like this, meaning he had to uh, receive the interception and just run it back, get out of the end zone and just run it back. So New England, so they can just so they can end the game. And when my father saw that reaction, my father started to laugh because it was a very, very great play. And then after that game, when Denver went on to play in the Super Bowl, um, Bill Belichick, the New England Patriots head coach, he went up to Peyton Manning after the game, and Peyton Manning said to Bill Belichick, "This might be my last ride, and I just want to say it was an absolute pleasure playing against you, and this was very memorable." And Bill Belichick said, "It was a pleasure going up against you." And you keep up the good work. This was an incredible experience. Thank you. And Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, they had one final handshake, and Tom Brady said, "I wish you all the best. This was absolutely incredible. You keep up the good work." And that was just a sign that whenever they played up against each other, it was fantastic. Do you think that's a great sign?
Yes, I do certainly think that's a great sign.
So now we're gonna shift, and Peyton Manning won his final game in the NFL. To We defeated the Carolina Panthers. He won Super Bowl 50, and he came out on top. And Tom Brady, although he didn't win his final game of his career, he had so many memorable games, and he was really clutch. And he's nicknamed Tom Terrific for a reason. And Peyton Manning is nicknamed the Sheriff for a reason. He always brought his team down, and he always prepared his team as best as he could. Now we're going to shift our gears over to movies. Movies is something me and Luca really, really enjoy watching, and it's something we really, really enjoy talking about and bonding over. Movies are something that we really are interested in. Luca, we watched a lot of movies last year. What was the most memorable movie that you and I watched last year in the dorm?
Definitely a memorable one is Miracle.
Miracle to me is the greatest sports movie ever made. And not only it really emphasizes the true story of an underdog story. And it would Luca, what did you like about the movie?
I like that it shows like how, the whole US versus Soviet Union like hockey clash.
And what did you like about the head coach, Herb Brooks?
Oh, I thought he was a great head coach. And he did a lot of great things despite him like pushing the players a little too much.
The movie Miracle to me, it really emphasizes and it really symbolizes uh never giving up and never losing faith. And that team, you'll never find a more of an underdog story than that team. The Miracle on Ice, they were like college kids. They were literally college kids, and they were playing up against a professional team. And 13 days before they played in the Olympics in Lake Placid in February of 1980, at Madison Square Garden, 3 days before Lake Placid, the United States played against the Soviet Union, and the United States didn't lose that game. They got absolutely destroyed. They lost 10-3, and one of their best players got hurt. It was chaos. And after the game, one of the people that worked for the USA hockey team, he said, "Listen, this Soviet team has been playing together for the last 10 years. We still got a bunch of college kids out there still trying to get to know each other. They could have won this game 30-0." And only within a matter of 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, did the US team get better and did they overcome the odds. Now, what do you think symbolizes that movie and that team, Luca?
That movie and the scene, I would say, definitely like grit and perseverance and never giving up for sure.
And that head coach, he was ultra focused to a fault. And he demanded a lot out of his players, and he expected a lot out of them. And his main goal, yes, was definitely to win, but he wanted his players, to be honest with you, in a way, he wanted his players to hate him, and he wanted his players to have like that fire in them, because he felt like that was a way to motivate them, to get them to play better. What was your favorite scene in the movie Miracle?
My favorite scene was definitely for sure when they won it all at the end.
That was an absolute that was a great scene. And my favorite part, to be honest, I have two favorite parts. My favorite part is 10 minutes before the game, when they're all sitting in the locker room, and then head coach Herb Brooks is in his office. He comes out and he said, "Great moments are born from great opportunity." He did a tremendous job of inspiring his players, and he did a tremendous job of telling his players, "You guys can win this game." And they went out there, and the announcer, Ken Drive, and Al Michaels, Ken Drive, he actually said it best. He said, um, the U.S. team is going to be going through perhaps one of the most toughest and exhilarating time of their lives. They're going to be playing against a team that's far better than they are, a team that's dominated world hockey for like the last 10 years. And I love the part at the end when it's 4-3 and it's like 2 minutes to go. Me and my dad always get a kick out of this scene. When the assistant coach, Craig Patrick, is on the sidelines, and Craig Patrick, the assistant coach, yells out, "Bring it up the boards, bring it up the boards." Meaning they needed to bring it up the boards just to keep it away from the Soviets. And with like a minute to go, United States is up 4-3. And the assistant coach, Craig Patrick, yells out, "Chip it out, chip it out." And that was a sign that they had to it was a sign that they needed to bring it up. But you'll never find a more of an underdog story than that. And my father said, and we'll never really exactly know for sure, but we'll never see an upset like that again. That type of upset where a team really overcomes the odds and wins like that. Do you agree, Luca?
Yes, I agree 100%.
Now, what's another memorable movie that you remember watching?
Another one I would say is Slapshot.
Slapshot is an absolute hysterical movie. It brings out so much joy. And I feel like they don't make comedy movies like that again. And Slapshot was made in 1977. They really don't make comedies like that anymore. And the lines in that movie were very, very old school. And what I like about the movie was it brought so much joy to the screen, and the type of characters and the way they deliver their lines was hysterical. Who was your favorite character on Slapshot?
I would say probably what's his name? McClanahan, or what was his name?
It's the Hanson brothers.
The Hanson brothers, yeah.
The Hanson brothers were hysterical, and the scene that I love in that movie was when it's at the beginning of the movie, and the head coach, Reggie Dunlop, who was played by Paul Newman, he comes into the train station, and he's supposed to be picking up new recruits for his team and for his minor league team. And when he comes in, he's expecting like good players, and he sees these three guys by a vending machine, and then they're like throwing the vending machine, and they're like jumping up against it. And then Coach Reg Dunlop looks at them and he's like, "Hey, are you guys the Hansons?" And the guy says, "The machine took my quarter." And then he was expecting that them to be recruits, and they were like, one of them was 20, and then Steve was in the middle, and then Jeff was 18. So they were like 20-year-old, 19-year-olds, and they were supposed to be playing in the minor league, in like on a minor league hockey team. And they literally had suitcases, and they literally packed toys with them, like toy cars with them, to go on the road with them. And the head coach, Reg Dunlop, said it best. Me and my father love this line. He's like, "They brought their toys with them." And it was absolutely hysterical. Luca, what do you think about that line?
Yes, I do think that is a great line and a very funny line in the movie.
And the fact that they all the fighting scenes and they went up against each other, and the lines that were said in the movie, it makes you like sit back and it makes you laugh, and they really thought outside the box about the lines. And what I like about Slapshot is it always brings joy, and I could watch it over and over again and never get sick of it. Do you feel that way?
Yes, I completely agree with you.
Now, was there any other memorable movies that you liked watching?
Yes, so another memorable movie that I liked watching was Caddyshack.
Caddyshack is an absolute classic. I have a poster of it in my dorm room, and Caddyshack is one of the funniest comedy movies ever. Now, there is a debate out there of which movie is better, Slapshot or Caddyshack. Luca, what movie do you think is better?
I would probably say Slapshot.
What movie I think was better, hands down, no question, is Slapshot. To me, Slapshot was better. I think Slapshot is so good, it's in a category of its own. That's how much of a legendary comedy it is. And but Caddyshack, the lines in Caddyshack, a lot of the lines that come out of a lot of the lines that the characters say is very, very funny. Now, Luca, what do you think is the funniest scene in Caddyshack?
I mean, it's hard to point to one scene in particular because the movie has a lot of funny scenes.
I find the whole movie to be very funny, but a scene that I love that I thought was hilarious was at the end. It was like really late at night, and one of my favorite actors of all time, comedy legend Chevy Chase, who actually turned 80, 82 or 83. I think he turned 82 last week. He turned 82 last week. Chevy Chase. It was like, and this was like at the beginning of his career, and it's literally uh like in the middle of the night, and he's playing golf, and he hits a golf ball into Bill Murray's house. And remember, Bill Murray's a groundskeeper, and he basically sleeps in like a garage, and he goes in there, and Chevy Chase hits a ball there, and Chevy Chase is like, "Oh, hi, Carl." And then Carl said hi, and Chevy Chase looks at him and he's like, "Mind if I play through?" And then he's like, "Sure, go right ahead." Meaning, if he can play through his golf game when the golf ball went through his window. What did you think about that scene?
I thought that was a great scene in the movie for sure.
That was indeed a very iconic scene, and a scene that I loved, and I loved Chevy Chase's reaction. Um, uh, when he walked in and saw the house, he said to Bill Murray, he said, "Is this your place, Carl?" And Carl's like, "Yeah, what do you think?" And then Chevy Chase is like, "Wow, it's really awful." And then Chevy Chase, Bill Murray said to Chevy Chase, "If you ever win a raffle, or you just want to talk," he said, "Hey, buddies for life." And Chevy Chase is like, "You can come by my place anytime." And then Bill Murray's like, "What's your address over there? You live around Briar, right?" And Chevy Chase is like, "Briar, too." And my favorite line in the movie was Bill Murray said, um, do you have a pool in your house? Do you have a pool in your backyard?" And Chevy Chase is like, "We have a pond in the back. We have a pool and a pond. A pond would be good for you, natural spring." And then Bill Murray said, "Oh, well, pool or pond, anything would be good." Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to clean this up here. And Chevy Chase is like, "You go ahead and clean up a little bit. It looks fine to me." And another line that I love in the movie is Chevy Chase is talking to the caddy, Danny. And Chevy Chase says to Danny, "Don't be so obsessed with your desires, Danny. The Zen philosopher Basho once wrote that a flute with no holes is not a flute, and a donut with no hole is a Danish." He's a good guy. Now, what was your favorite scene who what scene did you find the most funniest in Caddyshack?
The funniest scene, I would say, I mean, definitely the scene you just said.
Yes, very funny scene. That scene was awesome. Now, which character in Caddyshack do you think carried the film? Who do you think really made the film?
I would say that multiple characters definitely made the film. You know, Chevy Chase, Rodney Dangerfield, Bill Murray.
And when I think of those three actors, I think of them as very entertaining and very funny. And those three actors in the one movie, they really, really made the film. And a scene that I loved in Caddyshack that I got a kick out of. It's the opening scene, and Danny, the caddy, uh, he's in high school and he's trying to get a caddy tournament, and he's trying to win a caddy tournament, and he's trying to get a caddy scholarship, and he's at his house, and literally he has like a bunch of siblings in his house, and he also has family living there. There's a bunch of kids there, and I got a kick out of Danny's father's reaction. He's sitting at the kitchen table, and there's a kid sitting in front of him having breakfast, and the father looks at the kid, and he's like, "Who are you? What's your name?" And he didn't know who the kid was, and I thought that was so funny. And really, the whole movie, it's when you just think of a comedy classic. Now, were there any other movies that you really really loved that we watched last year?
Yes, another movie that I liked a lot that we watched last year was Midnight Run.
Midnight Run is in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. And a big reason why I loved the movie Midnight Run is because Midnight Run does not get the respect it deserves. And what people say about Midnight Run is, and movie makers say, it's the best movie you never saw, meaning it does not get the respect it deserves. Scene after scene after scene, you want to know what happens next. The stuff that came out of the characters' mouths were so funny. Uh it's like a movie that you really want to know what happens next. You find like a connection with the characters, and it's very very adventurous, and it's like action packed. There's a lot of action, and you want to just continue to watch it, and it makes you laugh. Luca, what did you think the funniest scene was in Midnight Run?
I would say I liked the scene when they were on the airplane and the man was like afraid of flying.
I love the scene when Robert De Niro said, "Come fly with me, come fly away." And there's certain scenes in the movie Midnight Run that always make me laugh, and that's a movie I could easily watch over and over again. Do you agree?
Yes, I definitely agree with you.
So that was our first episode of Michael and Luca's Excellent Adventure. We hope you enjoyed, and we're looking forward to talking again. And this was a very, very memorable first experience. Luca, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, you're welcome. It was great.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun, and we look forward to seeing you again. I think that went very well. Thank you.